The most influential people in the world, as well as dignitaries and royalty, get access to the private box at Steffi Graf Stadium. On this June afternoon, as Alex Eala was getting ready to take on the reigning Queen's Club champion Dana Vekic, a stranger appeared from the shadows of that private suite, which is usually unoccupied during first-round matches. This man, whose net worth above $100 billion and whose name is synonymous with revolutionizing the modern world, is neither a tournament official nor a sponsor. After arriving in Berlin, Bill Gates was there for her rather than the tennis. What did Alex Eala propose that completely stunned the tennis world, and why did the philanthropist and co-founder of Microsoft decide to make his move during a WTA 500 event in Germany? Steffi Graf Stadion, Center Court, Berlin, Germany, June 17, 2026. For the third day of the Berlin Open, the grass at the Steffi Graf Stadion was immaculately groomed. There were 25,000 seats available. The Philippine flags were prepared, and Laban's chants were about to reverberate across one of tennis' most illustrious venues. With the weight of a whole country on her shoulders, Alex Eala entered center court. A few days prior, she had lost badly to her close friend Eva Jovic at Queen's Club 6-2-6-2. Her momentum had been broken by the loss, and familiar murmurs had been raised. Is she experiencing burnout? Is she able to maintain this level? Dana Vekic, a Croatian champion on a winning streak who had just written one of the most unlikely fairy tales of the grass season, stood across the net. Only when another player withdrew did the 29-year-old, who had entered Queen's Club as a fortunate loser, make it to the main draw. She had defeated Emma Raducanu in the event final, turning that second opportunity into a victory. She became just the 8th lucky loser to win a tournament during the Open era with her first WTA 500 championship. Competition. In the rankings, Vekic has risen from 76 to 33. She had a winning run, was self-assured, and thought she could continue it. However, Eala had previously defeated her twice. Eala lost the opening set 4-6 but rallied to win 6-4-6-4 in their brutal three-set match at the ASB Classic in Auckland. Eala defeated Vekic 6-3, 6-4 at the Kuom Classic exhibition a week later. 2 games, 2 wins, and a pattern the Croatian was unable to ignore. Instead of the combat the crowd had anticipated, they witnessed a demolition. Eala controlled play from the first serve. Vekic's power was neutralized by her lefty angles. She moved with such ease and fluidity. Before Vekic's shots left the racket, she read them, shutting off angles and depriving the veteran of space and time. In 29 minutes, the opening set was finished. 6-2, Vekic attempted to make adjustments in the second set by attacking the net and changing her tempo, but nothing worked. Eala was completely focused, executed flawlessly, and locked in. The scoreboard demonstrated total dominance as the last point, a backhand winner that kissed the sideline, was scored. Eala had increased her dominance against Vekic to 3-0, 6-2, 6-3. Elena Rybakina, the 2022 Wimbledon winner who had defeated her in Rome only weeks prior, was waiting for her in the round of 16. She had no idea that the best was still to come as she lifted her fist to the crowd while grinning slightly. Because someone had been watching in the VIP area, high above center court, and that person's presence alone would make a regular triumph into the most memorable moment of her Berlin campaign. Steffi Graf Stadium, Berlin, Germany, June 17, 2026 VIP section. The Steffi Graf Stadium's private box is often reserved for international leaders, royalty, and dignitaries. The fact that it is usually empty during first-round games is a mute monument to how exclusive the top levels of the sport are. However, a stranger appeared from the shadows of that private suite on this June afternoon as Alex Eala was getting ready to take on the reigning Queen's Club champion Dana Vekic. Not a sponsor, not an official of the competition. A man whose name is linked with revolutionizing the modern world and whose net worth over $100 billion. Bill Gates had reached Berlin. The philanthropist and co-founder of Microsoft, who has always loved tennis and routinely plays the game, sometimes for up to 3 or 4 hours at a time, made an unexpected appearance at the WTA 500 event in Germany. Only a few months prior, He had been to the BNP Paribas Open at Indian Wells, and it had become somewhat of a ritual for him to visit major tennis tournaments. But Berlin? A German WTA 500 event? This was not what I expected. Like wildfire, word got out around the stadium. With their phones raised and chatter growing, fans moved to face the VIP area. Even the players on nearby courts stopped to look up at the box where the tech titan sat, their focus on center court, as tournament officials hurried to verify the sighting. He was here, but why? Gates raised millions of dollars for the Swiss Legends Foundation by playing charity matches with Roger Federer. He had made a joke about not making it to Wimbledon. He was a student of the game and knew that tennis required more than simply strength. It also required accuracy, fortitude, and an unwavering determination to give up. He was also watching Alex Eala on this particular day. When Gates sat down, the game was already well underway. Eala was expertly deconstructing Bekic's game, oblivious to her esteemed observer. She moved fluidly, had excellent angles, and resisted breaking under pressure. It was a performance that went beyond the scoreboard. Those who knew Gates could sense his approval, even though he was silent, and had an unreadable expression. The 21-year-old Filipina's story reflected his own concept of pushing boundaries and challenging expectations, and he had noticed something unique about her. Gates stood and cheered when Eala raised her fist to the audience at the finish of the game. This was not the courteous applause of a casual onlooker, but rather the intentional recognition of someone who saw greatness in the making. The private conference was about to start, although the tennis world was unaware of it yet. Rot-Weiss Tennis Club Private Suite, Berlin, Germany, June 17, 2026. With a friendly voice and the weight of someone who has spent decades researching what makes people successful, Gates said. It required bravery to make it to the semifinals of the Miami Open, win the Birmingham title, then sign the waiver when the WTA ordered you to quit. Eala listened, her face unreadable. You make me think of something. Everyone said it was impossible when I founded Microsoft. People said philanthropy couldn't grow when I founded the foundation. Additionally, people warned me that I would seem foolish when I started playing tennis with Roger. He grinned. Those who reject the boundaries set by others are the ones who make a difference in the world. Eala's throat constricted. I'm here to give you perspective, which is more precious than money. I wish to assist you in looking beyond the next competition, ranking, and point. Because your legacy, rather than merely your tennis career, is more important than any title. There was silence in the room. In addition to fines and fees, Eala had already been notified by the WTA that she was unfit to compete. Despite having signed a waiver, she managed to win Birmingham. Nothing had prepared her for this, yet she had fought the world's top players and refused to give up. Rot-Weiss Tennis Club, Private Suite, Berlin, Germany, June 17, 2026. Why her? Was the unanswered question. WTA 500 event attendance was not a habit for Bill Gates, the guy who invented personal computing and subsequently devoted his wealth to curing poverty and illness. He raised millions for education in Africa by playing charity matches with Roger Federer on 4 continents. He had been to Indian Wells for the BNP Paribas Open. Berlin, though? A 21-year-old Filipino? This was not like the others. I've been observing you for some time, Gates remarked in a composed and thoughtful tone. Not just your tennis, but also your narrative, your demeanor, and your refusal to accept the boundaries that people attempt to set for you. He hesitated, carefully considering what to say next. Everyone said it was impossible when I started Microsoft. People claimed philanthropy couldn't grow when I founded the foundation, and they said I would look foolish when I started playing tennis with Roger. He grinned. Those who reject the boundaries set by others are the ones who make a difference in the world. I am reminded of that by you. Eala listened, her face unreadable. The WTA had already declared her unfit to compete, and she had to deal with fines and fees. Despite having signed a waiver, she managed to win Birmingham. Despite being up against the world's finest players, she refused to give up. However, she was unprepared for this. Gates went on. I'm not here to offer you money. I'm here to give you perspective, which is more useful. I wish to assist you in looking beyond the next competition, ranking, and point. Because your legacy, rather than merely your tennis career, is more important than any title. He took out a tiny folder from inside his jacket. A program for up-and-coming leaders, athletes, scientists, and entrepreneurs who are leveraging their platforms to affect change is offered by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. I want to put you forward. There was silence in the room. Eala's gaze shifted from the folder to Gates and back again. I'm at a loss for words, she said. He said, you don't have to say anything. Continue doing what you're doing. Continue to inspire, fight, and make the world take notice. He grinned. It would be an honor to have you join the foundation. The Aftermath, Rotweiss Tennis Club, Berlin, Germany, June 17, 2026. Although the encounter with Bill Gates was brief, just over an hour, its influence on Alex Eala's life would be measured in years rather than minutes. Gates had offered her something far more valuable than money or sponsorship, a nomination to the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation's Emerging Leaders Program, a prestigious program that supports entrepreneurs, scientists, and athletes who are using their platforms to make significant changes in the world. For Eala, who had battled for recognition her whole career, her character, perseverance, tennis skills, and refusal to accept the boundaries others attempted to set for her were all validated by the nomination. She had whispered during the meeting, I don't know what to say. Gates had grinned. It is not necessary for you to speak. Continue doing what you're doing. Continue to inspire, fight, and make the world take notice. The road ahead, the Berlin Open, is still going on. The grass season continues. Eala is vying for a spot in the top 32 at Wimbledon, which is quickly approaching. She is ranked 35th, and every point counts. However, something has changed. The purpose of the meeting with Gates was recognition rather than money. A man with a net worth of over $100 billion, who invented personal computers and committed his wealth to ending poverty and illness, had decided to spend the evening with her. Her trip struck a chord with his own attitude of pushing boundaries. Eala later told one of her teammates, he told me that the people who change the world are the ones who refuse to accept the limits others place on them. I've spent my entire career fighting that. Knowing that someone like him sees it too is comforting. The legacy Alex Eala has already achieved something that goes